A draft straight away. Absolutely love it. Beautiful. That was a pretty high quality game. Not perfect, but ERLs is good. Oh, yes. You can scream now. You can, Crimin. You're allowed to. How have you self-only about LL's draft force yesterday? We had our issues. They first picked the side and got punished for it. Mundo Blind would be very funny. Rise is very much an archetype pick. Tells you the kind of draft they want to play, but I think it's a fine blind, probably. Though it is into Nemesis. See what he wants to play into it. I think Orianna, Hui, Syndra all fine. Though Rise will eventually outlane them and will be, well, not outlane them, side lane them specifically. Although we'll note it does set up potentially for a very nasty mid jungle with the Rune Prison if you go for a carry jungle. Ambessa, Ori, Rumble down. I missed the Rumble, but the Ori being banned rather. Yunara for Vendetta. See whether he wants to lock in Vayne, I suppose, but he went towards the Yunara. All right. We've already got Veli's Wukong, which gets through draft. Very rare that happens. It's normally banned against him permanently. Arm for Reckless. Not bad into Yunara. You can kind of deal with her and then run away, which is not a bad thing to do. Is this map best of one? It is. Or is this map one? It is. However, it's only best of one, so only playing the single map for your non-league view. Gragas for Bowsy. If he gets a hold of it, yeah, I think that's probably fine. I think Zyra Khan early here into double short-range carries of Yunara and Rise is good. When Yunara was first released, guys, as well, the Zyra was by far the champion that had the best win rate into Yunara. It was something like a 75% win rate of Zyra into Yunara. And Yunara's been pretty heavily nerfed. So I think this is a pretty good matchup here. Basically, Yunara has to do all of her damage in Zyra's active range, and Zyra is a conditional hyper carry. Zyra scales incredibly well as long as she can play with her feathers and actually get consistent feather pulls. Yunara grants that to her. You don't actually outscale Zyra very easily, or Zyra very easily as a Yunara. Lulu potentially helps with that, as we did see a lot of Yunara plus CC, which again is fine, as long as you get to do so without being blown up in turn. It's a very greedy build to go that way. It works, and we've seen it work. However, Yunara plus Lulu allows her to basically have the sustain/safety in it that her kit doesn't provide by itself, and her range certainly doesn't lend itself to. So there goes the Hui. There goes the Poppy. Yeah, Poppy would have been a decent angle for Bowser, for Manatee here, to be honest. So I agree with that one. Does Spooder play Poppy? I do forget. Brownie's a really good Zyra player. Agreed, he is. I think that would also be part of the issue. Okay. The Piper's Road, the Golden Rat on the line for LR if they can win this tournament. But that involves getting through some of these very key teams against them. Team Phantasma are one of the HLL specialties. Of course, renamed from GLL. I still call it the GLL under my brain. So that's the one. Fog, just a heads up. I don't mind you asking gameplay questions. I don't generally mind asking questions about League in general. But, like, outright betting talk, we try to avoid because we end up with, like, people get really annoyed. They get really angry and salty about it. So, just if you could keep, like, outright odds and stuff out of chat, I'd appreciate it. Words, notes, not a big deal. Game talk is fine. Asking questions is fine. But we just try to keep a little bit of distance just because people can get a little bit weird about it. And that's a Vel'Koz? God bless. We all know it's a streamer's fault for that, isn't it? Exactly. That's it. That's it. You get it, Maddie. Okay, so for a long time, Nemesis has been one of the very few pro players who has played Vel'Koz. He's always had as a kind of background pick. It's been a pocket pick of his for a while. Into a lot of very short-range champions, you can bully Ryze out. You can bully Yunara out. Lulu hates it as well. I think this is a really good Vel'Koz angle, especially if the Gragas and the Wukong and the Rakan to an extent as well can keep you safe and play good bodyguard. You can play it out really well. I think if you are forced to dive into Gragas Xayah with Vel'Koz being artillery, I think the range on Team Phantasma is going to really bite them. Much better dress from Los Ratones. I see the full process here. Also, you're absolutely right. Team Phantasma's engage is quite conditional. They do have ways to get onto people. Xin Zhao is got target access. K'Sante has target access. Yunara with Lulu has okay-ish target access. K'Sante all out, target access. CC is a lot more conditional. Your target access is decent, and LPL teams be able to get away with that just by killing people, the mobility being enough that you just stick to people, and as a result, you do enough damage that they die. It is a much finer line to walk, and it can be a lot more challenging if you can't find a way to come in from odd angles or get beyond front lines to important members. And that can then be challenging. So I do want to say that Team Phantasma, for all they don't have that much CC, or it's conditional CC, the target access of a Xin Zhao, of a K'Sante, even the Ryze with the Rune Prison stuff and the Realm Warp, is still pretty good. The question is whether the target access is enough to overcome the lack of CC by raw damage. And that can happen, because the damage is pretty good from Team Phantasma, especially with an Enchanter behind them. I still much prefer Lost Return Strike. And I think you've got to get through the gauntlet, and I think the range issues are more of an issue than necessarily their lack of CC. But yeah, I much prefer that one. I'm going to run some ads so we don't get them in game. I'm going to quickly get myself a glass of water and we'll get ourselves good to go. So we're all ready for this game. Visto.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Seconds until minions spawn.
I lose to the likes of you. Good weapons have many uses.
I was just being shown a wonderful bug by my brother.
Minions have spawned.
Or Ghost of Tsushima, where apparently if you jump into water, you start flying into the sky, which is kind of funny. All right. It's here as well. Immediate respect bans for want to appear now. I see Vel'Koz locked. Yeah, I know, Wild. Jeremy, never seen the man play Vel'Koz. Nemesis, basically, back when he was in LEC, Nemesis, actually, we'll have this story while we got the opportunity. When Nemesis was in LEC on Fnatic, he hard-learned Vel'Koz as a counter to Azir. And it mashed Azir, and it was making people's life in LEC hell, because he was doing a lot of work with it. It has always been a Nemesis counter pick, and it's something, it was one of the reasons why vods.ls actually first started liking Nemesis a lot. And one of the reasons he was like, look, this is a really, really smart heads up. I've been telling people to pick up Vel'Koz for ages. Vel'Koz is just a very weird champion and very hard to play. However, if you are good at him, he becomes a surprisingly good counter pick into a lot of control mages. Things like Azir, things like Ryze, hate Vel'Koz. It's a miserable time. So it's an old school counter pick for Nemesis. We've not seen it a lot in recent years, but it is worth noting he plays it in particular and has played it since 2018, basically. I'm fairly certain he's had it, but anyway, it's been a long known counter pick for Nemesis. We know he plays it. I looked up and the only Vel'Koz pick in his pro career is top esports at Worlds in 2020 and lost. Huh. I thought, like, either way, it's very much a known thing for him to play there. You are, don't you? Because I am certain he played some more. You're right, he has only played the one Vel'Koz game. Huh. Interesting. Well, for the record, it has actually, or it's been one of those ones which he was like notorious for having as a back pocket pick, and so it got banned against him quite a lot. There you go. There's Nemesis and solo queue. Thank you very much, production, smurfing on that one. He does quite a lot with this one. He's been known for playing this for a long time. Love to spread misinformation. There you go. At least I got some proof from production. I thought he played it more in pro, I won't lie. But I do very much recall him being like, people going, yeah, this guy plays Vel'Koz. Just so you know. But thank you for looking at that one up, Deus Eratus, and calling me out on that one. I thought he played a lot more of it. 2016 or 17, yeah, something like that. But anyway, there you go. I think it's a cool pick. Buddha may be in a bit of trouble here. Okay, just delays his reset. Bouncy comes back, double ruby and a mana crystal. Doesn't change all that much. We'll just force the TP here. Gets the wave crash. It's KDA Grag. It's my favorite. I wonder whether with the Veigar buff, he might bring Veigar back into Akali or something. Yeah, possible. Yeah, possible, but for sure, for sure. But yeah, I suspect that the Vel'Koz could end up being a really annoying thing to deal with. Also, Cassante hates it, because all of your resists mean jack all to the true damage. Vel'Koz is surprisingly good into tanks. You have to stack your passive well, but you do a pretty good work into tanks. Also, Vel'Koz is a great Blackfire Torch abuser, which hits Nemesis build pattern very well. Oh, coming on over to fight this. Spell's going to clone away. There's a knock-up and the ult. Manatee, woo! Got a bit scary there. Did lose Raptors. Bouncy should clear that wave just fine. I was having this conversation the other day, but for my money, I actually think Bowser's best champion, professionally at least, is actually his Gragas, not his Sion. I think he's obviously very famous for his Sion, and his Sion is excellent, and I'm not here to take it away in any way, shape, or form, but I really, really, really think Bowser's Gragas is something special. Roa Baus? What should be Fimblewind? Dragon down. Not bad there. Off the priority from the invade. I think especially with Vel'Koz not having the ult. Buddha. I mean, Sion is too. I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, I'm not here to say that Sion is bad or whatever. But for me, the order is actually Gragas, Sion, not Sion, Gragas. Xayah versus Yunara, late time. I prefer... so, specifically into Yunara, I think Xayah is a better matchup. We saw that when Yunara first released, Xayah had a pretty obscene win rate into Yunara. It's gotten better for Yunara, but again, she's been nerfed. And I just think Xayah has the edge in the matchup. Yunara plays too much in Xayah's active range. Most good AD carries into Xayah have got ways to affect her from beyond her feather range. Yunara doesn't really. I don't like this I don't like his Galio. I don't think it fits his style. It avoids too many fights. I actually wonder if Velia's success might have gone to his head a bit, where he seems to be taking one-on-one fights and fights where he doesn't have complete evasion of the running area more often than he used to. I think that's fine if he has got his team on board for it, or the game plan calls for it. Because actually one of the joys of having players like Reckless and Nemesis and theoretically Baus as well, is you will actually have support on call that you can afford to take those more aggressive flips, and they'll work out that one. Who do you think wins this game? I really like the LR draft into what Team Phantasma have. I think the range discrepancy will be really problematic, with Xayah, Feathers, and Vel'Koz being very frustrating for the Yunara and the Ryze to manage. Vel'Koz is good late. Yeah, he is. He is a scaling control mage with true damage into a short range comp. I don't like it. So you don't like Baus's Galio? You think he avoids too many fights with it? Yeah, to an extent, though I will say, if he's ahead of the curve, his ability to shove a lane, roam for an ult, having gotten the kind of faster rotation path, is very, very frustrating. So I still think it's not bad. I just think you don't get to play around the Galio ult as selflessly as you might. Well, he doesn't play around the Galio ult very selflessly, which changes the way you look at the Galio. Reaper giving a lot, or Reaver giving a lot of support to Manatee so far. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that is the Yunara plus Lulu has a lot of lane prio, so the Lulu's able to leave. So Nemesis can support somewhat, but basically you're always going to have the lane priority to an extent to come support the jungle, which is not bad. The only thing is that Baus and Crowny have therefore taken the opportunity to get some decent plates early on. It's going to be forced to ult. I think Spuda could have a bit of a bad time here. It's a lot of feathers. Not enough cooldown to get another rotation through. But Spuda's at a third. Between Doran Shield, Grasp, and Pots will likely be fine. Do we see Grubs here? No, but that was Quickness and ult down from Xayah. Quickness and Featherstorm. There we go. Took me a second. What do you think about today's games? Any surprises? Ross won. They went 3-0, which is a fairly big one. I was not expecting them to be a team that was 3-0, but they've done really, really well. And Funky and Cannon in particular. My boys doing well. Very pleased for them. I think Verdant versus KCB being what it was is kind of crazy. So it's not necessarily a surprise to me that Verdant won, but that KCB are now 1-2 over the last 3 days is a bit more surprising. I think Yunara has to go to the Blade of the Ruin King build because she needs some sustain in her kit or it's going to be a disaster. Well, she gets some healing back with the Drunken Rage. BXS versus Misa just started. That will be a fun one. If this game ends fast enough, we'll hop over and have a look. The one thing I'll say about Vel'Koz, and one of the reasons he was never seen that much in pro, is he is an awful side laner. Very vulnerable to flanks. He does want to be in mid lane. It's a similar issue with Zera. And so if you ever have to play long lanes, particularly from behind the curve, you are at risk of being caught out quite a lot. Ryze, on the other hand, fantastic side. True damage shred with AP versus Ryze and Cassante and Shin, I agree. Yunara is also very short range, it's a bit problem. So, Dragon gets started. Team Phantasma in the river first. LR are going to play for mid shove instead, interestingly. No one's died yet, by the way. Who got grubs? LR got grubs. That's fine. That's pretty good for Gragas and the way Bousy plays. I think getting grubs for a Bouse team is always valuable, just because it's Bousy. Vel'Koz with phase rush? Yeah, no. He will go Comet and you'll enjoy it. This is weird. LR ahead at 10? I know. Although in fairness, their early game stats weren't as bad as people think they were. It's just actually when LR looked their worst in the early games, and we have seen them have mixed early. However, I think it's 50-50. It's just not a guarantee, if you see what I mean. They weren't very consistent in their early games, what I mean. So I feel like if I look up NLC... If I look at NLC and GOL, I bet... I don't want winter. Don't want playoffs. So that'll do. Team stats. Early game. Yeah, so Lost Ratones was still plus 715. You know, they were third in the league behind Nord and Lungfist at that point from playoffs. You know? So they weren't the best early game team in the league, but they were inconsistent enough that people had criticisms, and I think that remains true. But I don't think they were but like a lot of the LR early game memes are somewhat more nuanced that they just suck than they suck early. If there's a boring part, I'd be interested in your hero thoughts and priorities, stealing the first grub and then conceding the next two. I'm not taking the third grub right away. Something about it seems asymmetrical. We shouldn't be possible in a zero-sum game. So a lot of this has to do with rotational time. The break point is 2 grubs, right? 2 grubs gets you the mark towards feats of strength. It's the one that gives you serious advantages versus turrets. 1 grub is somewhat negligible. It's a minor win as Bousy's dead. Nice punish from Spooder. Bousy did not get to flash or ult and just goes, oops, I'm dead. Well, Bousy gives up first blood. Pepe needs to be really careful here, actually. I don't think he can stick around. Yep. Room Prison's Velia overcomes quite a lot of Team Phantasma members. Dire's going to shove mid. They're trying to keep Nemesis safe. Realm walk forward. Wind does become lightning. Oh, that's a really good knock-up. Oh, nasty. Flash from Vendetta. Oh, he's stuck onto the turret. TP behind. Watch for the blast. Oh, boy. Vendetta takes a turret shot. Bousy, my boy. Into the double body slam. He'll trade his life for it. What was that? 2 for 1. And all the while, Xayah got mid lane tier 1. It'll come at the cost of this turret, probably? Probably. Manatee? I don't know. Just be a little bit careful here. Yeah, I think my Nemesis could TP in here, yeah? That's a bit far, Velia. Double knock-up. Crownie's coming. Crownie's coming. TP's in. Yeah, I wanted to keep Team Phantasma busy. Manatee looking. Does get over. But now has to flash because the feathers are there. Casante's coming. Nemesis looking at Reaver. Pepe's also caught. This is a complete cluster. Fudge. Good sweep in to the life form disintegration rate. So what is that? That is a 2 for 3? Didn't get the turret. They stuck around too long. And Crownie got the mid lane tier 1. Should probably get this tier 1 bot. I think that's probably just about a win for LR. Yeah, they get the turret after as well. Probably is just about a win for LR. Team Phantasma got Herald. Thank you. That is actually important to note. So there is something else they got there as well. They're quite opportunistic with their TP turnarounds. They are... I think a lot of ERL teams sometimes get a little bit overconfident that it is that their correct move has no counters. And so they are a little bit caught off guard by LR's willingness to go. Actually, we've got a TP flank here, and they burned too many cooldowns. We can punish them for trying to get more out of this play. Reckless going to go in, force Manatee to ult. Quickness for Crescent Guard. Nemesis can threaten. Yeah. Oh, Plasma Fission into the Lifeform Disintegration Ray. Goodbye, Manatee. Spuda trying to go all out. Nemesis probably dies here. Oh, Bousy! Oh, that's foul! That is a clutch save. Good God, that was nasty damage. Another Plasma Fission. Bousy's Gragas is his best champion. I stand by this statement. Stand by this statement. And that is probably GG. Broken clock right twice a day. Rude. Oh, you're right. They didn't take Herald. Okay, I was wrong. There you go. I think we saw the shit on. I trusted chat. Trusted chat. I shouldn't have trusted chat. There's the Herald. Manatee no ult as well, since he used it early, so it can make LR disengage. Yeah, that was the price of Reckless going forward, basically. All 3 tier 1 turrets down versus 0 turrets is kind of rough. That bot side play around that tier 1 where Team Phantasma tried to punish LR pushing and got counter TP'd on after the play. There's going to be some VOD review around that one. And that's feat of strength as well. A little late, but happy enough. Baus makes a normal Gragas E flash play and everyone loses their mind. I mean, in fairness, that Gragas E flash 100 to 0'd the Yunara. So it's not just a normal E flash. That is, I blew up the AD carry that was about to kill my mid laner and turn around the fight. So I think it has got a little more value. Was it the hardest play ever? Probably not. However, it was giga valuable because otherwise I think Nemesis dies and things get very tricky. So, you know. Veli hitting the red buff to rage bait 3 enemies. Rekka's gonna quickness and escape that way. I don't... Probably did need to quickness, actually. A pro player should always make that play. True enough. Doesn't make it not important and not exciting. It is the correct play. However, if that play had gone wrong, that would have been a very dead Nemesis and the fight would have been turned around. Instead, it ends up with Nemesis surviving and 2 kills going over to Lost Ratones. So, I would argue, important, correct, flashy on screen. That's a pretty good trio of things to have happen. Just because it's the right move, that doesn't make it that doesn't make it not important. Vel'Koz's gonna melt everyone? Yeah, he is. I mean, I really like the Vel'Koz in this draft. We've already had that conversation. He's fine. Faust gets out. Oh, nearly. That's not bad, actually. Atakan still went the way of Lost Returns. Oh, no, it's still alive. Ah, no, I got confused by the pings. Oh, can they look to rush this? They might be able to, you know. No TP available for Reckless because he's gone for Guardian. Initialized, could I see Reckless being top 4 support in LEC? To begin with, no. Still got too much to learn. Still needs more, a wider champion pool. In terms of, like, archetypes. Like, I need to see him be better on engaged support still. I think he's got the experience. I think he's got the game knowledge. I think he's got the capacity. But I think it would take some work. I also think you just don't want to... I don't want to undersell that play. I think it was a really good play. Zai gets a good kill. Hang on, watch Bousy. He's got a really good angle here to get onto Vendetta and Pepe. Reva has to flash. Vendetta has to flash. Baus goes forward, gets the stun onto Vendetta, which means Veli can go in. Great angle. Great angle. Pepe's going to die for this as well. Really nice stuff. I see Alvaro, Mickey X Labrov being ahead of him. I think for sure those three make some sense. I think that those are probably your three top candidates in the league right now. I think who else might be there? Atakan's gonna go down. Not that much happening on screen. Not Velia. Vel'Koz will get a bit of a shove. That's the reason I said Vel. I still think Jun is really good. I don't want to undersell Jun. No, not some playoffs. Okay, Dragon's happening. I may have to focus on this for a bit. And I still think Paris and Stend are solid enough that I think I would be wary to immediately put Reckless top 4. Like, has he got the capacity? Sure. We know exactly how good Reckless can be as a player. Made some very deep runs across multiple different positions. Nice charm on the Buddha, who gets wild growth and will survive, but is going to be forced to run away. But I think I think you underestimate how good a lot of those middle of the pack LEC supports have been at ERL level, which is the level Reckless is playing at right now. Paris was the best support in ERL. Smashed every EMEA match he was in. Stend, again, similarly had great ERLs. Again, you got to remember that one. Jun has been excellent for a while. It's like, okay, well, there's 3 supports you have to be kind of cognizant of, who've had recent ERL experience and were winning EMEA match and smashing everyone doing it. So to immediately put Reckless above him without having seen it is risky. Not that he can't do it, to clarify. There's Reaver going to get blasted. Woo, baby. Nice kill. Nemesis gets that one to Manatee, who then doesn't get involved. Further pull. Pepe and Vendetta trying to do the best. But again, they've got to play in too short range. How do we like the Yunara build? Bork gets almost their tank. The reason she's doing Bork is she needs to sustain. Bork's the only one that gives you a little bit of survivability. You cannot afford the Kraken Slayer build this game, or you will die every time to Xayah, Vel'Koz, who you have to play in their active range of, and it sucks. I just think that Yunara has a horrible time this game in general. But I don't have that much issue with the Blade of the Ruin King Phantom Dancer angle, because you needed to survive, because you can't afford a Kraken Slayer build. You have no sustain in your kit. You will get blasted by feathers. It's the reason that the Xayah has been played a lot into Yunara at top end play. I wonder what damage Vel'Koz has done. Yeah, it'll be quite a lot. I am excited to see it. Nemesis being top 3 in LEC. Again, there's an interesting one, because we know how good he can be. He did very well at LEC the last time. But he's not played at that level in a while. So let's think, who would we have up there? Caps. There. Jojo's pretty good right now. There. Vladdy's in a weird space because of all the drama and the rest of it, so let's be careful on that one. Fnatic have got Poby, who's decent, but again, not the core part of that team. Yeah, I think they're probably... To be honest, I actually think LEC's mid lane pool right now is quite mixed, actually. So yeah, I think Nemec could probably be pretty solid, actually. We've seen how good he can be, and he's not roll swapped for the Simwell. I'd have to think about that one a bit more closely. I think top 5, certainly. Top 3 is perhaps a little bold. Because again, like we've seen how many times this happened before. CKC heading up to LEC, winning one split, and then things come crashing back down to earth a bit. Like, it can happen. Nemesis is obviously a lot more experienced. Nuke is also good, but has a bad team. Yeah, I also think Nuke is a bit of a team fight merchant and sometimes not the best side laner. His early laning is fine, but not super, super great. Like, he's a good player. I don't know whether he's genuinely clutch and great. I might be being over harsh there, though. Playing dead is gone as well. I mean, this game is so over. Nice rocket belt combo into the blast back. I mean, very clean game from Lost Ratones. Much better draft. And the Xayah Vel'Koz combo is damn filthy. GG. 15k ahead. It's another big win. Yeesh. Much better than yesterday. Much better than yesterday. Food is gone. Bouncy dies to the fountain. My goat. Do we get the draw live? Unfortunately, we don't. They do that off screen. Who would you put top 3 right now in the LEC? In terms of teams or in terms of players?